Good morning. Today we will discuss about the move to a 5G world. It's a fifth generation telecom revolution. So before we go and jump into a 5G infrastructure, let's understand what it will give in terms of revenue. Everybody interested over here that, hey, if I'm going to put down money in today's infrastructure, what it will give me back in 5, 10, 15 years. So Juniper has done a pretty good forecast. There are a lot of other forecasting available from Cisco and Deloitte and other companies. And Juniper forecasts that roughly $269 billion of revenue is possible globally by 2025. And this will be divided roughly 95 billion from 5G operators in China and Far East, around $80 billion in North American operators, around 54 billion dollars in Western Europe. This revenue will be generated if operators are putting infrastructure now to enable 5G. Now, how this revenue will be generated? Obviously, there will be new applications. So let's go and check new applications. So in this video, I'm trying to show one segment which has autonomous vehicles, autonomous robots, semi-autonomous 4 or 5 trucks, and there are different autonomous applications where 5G enabled infrastructure is important. So let's just watch how Domino's and Ford are combining together and trying to study that is it possible to deliver a pizza without any driver and by autonomous vehicle.
Ford and Domino's are launching a research trial using self-driving Ford cars to deliver pizzas to customers in Michigan. Ford Fusion hybrid autonomous cars will be fitted with heatwave compartments that are designed to keep the pizzas warm en route. Random customers in Ann Arbor will be given the option to choose the self-driving pizza delivery. Customers can track their order through an app. They would then walk out to the parked car and retrieve the pizza from the compartment using a unique code. Domino's tested its Domino's robotic unit in Australia and New Zealand last year. The company announced earlier this year that the robots will be used to deliver pizzas to customers in Germany and the Netherlands. Singapore has announced a partnership with Toyota and Scania to develop and test a self-driving truck platooning system that can transport goods between its shipping ports. The truck platooning system involves a human-driven truck leading a convoy of autonomous trucks by wireless communication. The trucks can be coupled or decoupled to allow other cars to cross between the vehicles. The trucks are also equipped with vehicle detection and anti-collision technologies. The initial test route is a 10-kilometer stretch along the West Coast Highway.
We want to put robots into the world's dullest, deadliest, and dirtiest jobs. When every single one of our machines is producing gigabytes of data per hour. Data is one of the greatest competitive advantages that you can have. Without the Dell Technologies backend, we would not be able to accomplish what we are doing today. We finally are at a point where robots can offer extreme value to very specific problems in the world. 10 years from now, everyone will look back and will not be able to picture a world without them.
So as we have observed that there are new applications are coming and 5G type of telecom networks are needed to enable these type of applications. Also in one of the videos it's clearly mentioned that data is going to be a new competitive advantage. So then how are we going to get there? Obviously we need more 5G enabled telecom infrastructures. And when we say 5G enabled, that means you have to put on more optical fibers. And as you can clearly see that top global telecom players have already started putting this kind of infrastructures. Verizon in North America plans to run 12.4 million miles of fiber each year, which is between 2 and 6 times more fiber than they currently using. So Verizon is clearly committed to deploy 300 million dollars worth of fiber over the next years just in Boston area alone. So my next video, it's a very nice discussion between Verizon CEO and Corning CEO on a CNBC business talk, and I guess which will clearly show us that what the top telecoms as well as top fiber manufacturers are thinking, and how they are going to put it down new infrastructure, and how they will generate the new revenue.
McAdam is the chairman and CEO of Verizon. Wendell Weeks, the chairman and CEO of Corning. Together, the two companies announcing this morning a new pact under which Verizon is agreeing to pay $1.05 billion for a 3-year minimum purchase agreement with Corning for the next generation of what they call optical solutions. What does that mean? Well, it means an awful lot of fiber to help improve Verizon's 4G LTE coverage and perhaps most importantly, speed the deployment of 5G services. Why are you buying all this fiber?
Well, David, we viewed fiber as the cornerstone building block for the network, the next generation network. And that network is going to look very different than what we've built in the past. If you look at 2G and third generation and fourth generation of wireless, it was about capacity and throughput. Fifth generation is about those things. We're going to see 100 times faster throughput, but we're going to see things like latency of a network, that the network will go out and come back and respond in less than the time it takes to blink your eye. We're going to see 10 times the battery life that we've seen in the past. That opens up a whole new set of applications for consumers and enterprise, but you can't do it if you don't have fiber deep into the network compared to what we've done in the past.
Right.
Let me give you an example of what this network's going to look like. When we deployed Fios, we would run a strand into a neighborhood, a cable that had maybe 6 or 8 strands in it. Now we're going to drop off 6 or 8 strands to every street light in every neighborhood. So that allows you to deliver a gigabit of throughput into the home, and it allows you to do things like intelligent transportation grids, intelligent electric grid management, water system management. You hear a lot about autonomous cars and things like that today. That does not work without 5G.
As we have clearly seen that Verizon CEO Lowell McDermott is clearly mentioning that he's going to deploy a lot more fibers, and to enable the applications that we have discussed in previous slides, that autonomous vehicles, autonomous robots, and so many other things. So how this can be going to be achieved? As we have seen, Verizon CEO said that 2 to 6 times more optical fibers, and then as you can see that the density of fibers in a cable has to increase. You can clearly see that in this picture, in this slide, that high density data cables, there is already 1728 fibers in just 22 millimeters diameter. So a lot of packing and a lot of fibers in such a small volume area. And there is also a need of large effective area fibers too, because you need to send a lot more data, as well as we hear like there should be a low latency. When you have applications like autonomous vehicles, you should have very low latency. So what that comes down to is high density packing of fibers in a small area cable. So high density cables definitely will require different kind of materials, which we call it ultra low microbending attenuation materials. Also, this is going to be in every street, as Verizon CEO mentioned that they are going to have a small cells. So the new requirement possibly is better water resistant, better heat resistance, especially in Asia. You have a high humidity as well as high heat in summer. So there will be a little bit enhanced applications or services will require from this kind of fibers and cables. Also enhanced cavitation strength, because as you go softer and softer in order to reduce your stresses, then there are chances that you can have a more rupture, and so you should have not only a soft material, but you should have a rupture resistance material. So this is from the perspective of a new material requirements, as 5G requires more fibers and high density cables, especially new type of fibers like G654, large effective area fibers, this type of things. From perspective of processing, because as we have seen, this has to be inject by 2020, and every year Verizon, AT&T, and other top operators like in China, China Mobile, China Unicom, China Telecom, this type of operator is going to put down a lot of fibers. Then fiber manufacturers have to put down even more fibers to manufacture with possibly existing infrastructure or going for more infrastructure. But if we can do it the same thing with existing infrastructure, you have to increase the speed so you can get a better yield. And if you can reduce your operation cost, it is all well and good. And if you can enable this whole increase in yield with UV LED curing, you can further reduce your operation cost, and also you are reducing the carbon footprint. So we have DSM has clearly seen that there will be three main trends happening today, and going forward is happening even further. Operating speed, fiber manufacturing speed is going to increase from maybe 3,500 all the way to 4,500, 5,000 or 5,500 meters per minute. Reducing the helium gas to cool the fiber, and also UV LED lamps to reduce up to 80% energy from the lamp, which today takes a lot of revenue out from an operations. So in the end, what we have seen that yes, 5G is definitely coming. Top players are already putting down their money in infrastructure, and as we can see in going forward, they want to catch up more revenue with different applications. So for those type of 5G applications, definitely more optical fibers are going in the ground, as well as in a very stringent applications. And a couple of them we have already seen, that it's high density cables, new fiber types, more stresses. For those things, there will be a new type of materials required, with obviously with high quality, low energy, and low helium ultra high speed coating systems will be kind of a necessity to enable 5G services. So in the end, I would say please invest now with the new materials, and you can get back your revenue exponentially in next 5 to 10 years. So going forward, what DSM is doing is also investing more to increase and enhance the capacity, because there is a lot more demand globally to have these fibers. We have also expanded in Taiwan in our facilities, and which right now already delivers the materials to our Asian customers, and which is a very strategic location because Taiwan is very logistically very strategically available to China, India, and all Southeast Asia. The future is today, because we can clearly see the 5G infrastructure deployment as well as 5G revenue with different applications. Thank you.